There are moments in life when silence becomes heavier than words, when the waiting room of existence feels endless, and the dreams you have carried for so long seem distant, as if hidden behind a fog that never lifts. In those moments, doubt whispers louder than faith, and the mind begins to question whether the universe has forgotten your name. Perhaps you have already tried countless times to shift your reality, repeating affirmations, holding visions, following every teaching you encountered, and yet the results never arrived in the way you hoped. This quiet frustration, this sense of living in circles, is the emotional threshold where transformation begins. Because it is precisely here, in the tension between desire and disbelief, that the first signals of manifestation appear, not as explosions of clarity, but as subtle flickers that test whether your heart is truly ready to receive. It is not uncommon to feel disconnected from your essence while waiting for life to change. Surrounded by people, you may still feel profoundly alone, carrying unresolved griefs, disappointments, or even a heavy sense of purposelessness. This inner silence often feels like abandonment, yet within it lies a sacred invitation to realign with yourself, to hear the voice beneath the noise, and to recognize the signs that your manifestation is not only on the way, but already weaving itself into your reality. The universe does not scream its messages. Instead, it whispers through coincidences, repeated symbols, sudden calmness after storms of anxiety, or small opportunities that appear ordinary but carry extraordinary potential. The challenge is not to demand louder signs, but to refine your perception so that you can finally see what has always been present. This video is about that exact moment, about learning to pay attention to the signals that your manifestation is about to crystallize in your life. These signs will not always come dressed in the brilliance you imagined, but if you train your heart to notice them, they will guide you like constellations on a dark night. Here we will explore the inner restlessness that precedes transformation, the mysterious alignment between thought and reality, the delicate process of shedding what no longer serves you, and the courage to embrace the subtle doors that open in front of you. More than just knowledge, you will receive practices, metaphors, and reflections that allow you to live this truth as an embodied experience. Because the path of manifestation is not about chasing results, but about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts what was once only a distant dream. And if you are here, listening to these words, then the first signal is already present. Your soul is ready to recognize what it once doubted was possible. There is a peculiar moment in every journey of transformation when the mind begins to notice subtle movements that cannot be easily explained. At first, these signs appear like fragile threads, seemingly insignificant details that most people dismiss as coincidence. But if you listen carefully, you realize they are signals guiding you toward what you have been preparing to receive. These moments are not loud or dramatic. They emerge quietly, often in the background of ordinary life, revealing themselves only to those who have cultivated presence. Recognizing these signals is not about desperate searching, but about allowing awareness to deepen until what was once hidden becomes visible. For many, the greatest challenge in manifestation is not the absence of opportunities, but the inability to trust the subtle process of becoming. You may feel exhausted after years of hoping, repeating affirmations, or practicing visualization techniques, and yet still sense that nothing is changing. This exhaustion is not failure. It is the very threshold of transformation. When the familiar patterns of impatience, doubt, or self-sabotage begin to lose their power, your inner world starts to shift in ways that prepare you for the arrival of what you desire. A common signal is a sudden sense of calm that replaces constant worry, a stillness that feels strange because it is so unfamiliar. You may even wonder if you have stopped caring, when in reality, you are learning the difference between anxious grasping and confident alignment. Subtle alignment often shows itself in synchronicities. Perhaps you keep hearing the same word in different conversations, or a symbol appears repeatedly in unexpected places, or you encounter the same theme through different people in a short span of time. These are not random accidents. They are small invitations from the universe, testing whether you are paying attention. What matters is not the appearance of the symbol itself, but the way it awakens awareness within you. When you begin to notice patterns converging, it is a sign that your inner state and the external world are starting to resonate, preparing a pathway for your manifestation to unfold. Another signal is the reshaping of your inner dialogue. Thoughts that once echoed with self-doubt start to feel hollow, while new beliefs emerge with greater strength. This internal shift is not forced. It happens organically, as if something larger than you is rearranging the furniture of your subconscious. You may notice yourself speaking differently, choosing words that reflect trust instead of fear, or imagining outcomes that once seemed too bold to be possible. The power of these inner changes lies not in their loudness, but in their persistence. It is the consistency of your new self-image that quietly builds the foundation for your external reality to shift. Paying attention to these signs also requires courage, because not all signals feel comfortable. Sometimes the universe clears space for your manifestation by removing what no longer serves you. A relationship ends, an opportunity collapses, or a familiar habit loses its appeal. At first, it may feel like loss, but if you look closely, you will see it is a form of preparation. Just as a gardener prunes branches so that the tree can flourish, life trims away the unnecessary so that your new reality has room to root itself. Recognizing this stage as part of the process can transform grief into gratitude, allowing you to honor endings as sacred beginnings. Another profound signal is the emergence of unexpected clarity. Instead of constantly searching for answers, insights arrive spontaneously, often during ordinary activities like walking, cooking, or resting. These insights feel different from random thoughts. They carry a weight, a certainty that bypasses analysis. They may guide you to take small actions, a phone call, an application, a conversation, that lead to larger breakthroughs. The key is not to dismiss them as trivial. Manifestation often begins with tiny steps that appear insignificant but carry the energy of momentum. It is also important to notice the transformation of your relationship with time. Before alignment, time feels heavy, slow, and suffocating. Every day without results feels like proof of failure. But as you approach manifestation, time begins to flow differently. There is less urgency, more presence, and a sense that the right opportunities will meet you at the right moment. This shift in perception is not a trick of the mind. It is the result of your nervous system moving from survival to trust. When your body feels safe to wait, you stop forcing outcomes, and the natural rhythm of manifestation begins to carry you. These signs may seem subtle, but they are profound indicators of change. They reveal that manifestation is not simply about attracting something external, but about becoming the version of yourself that can live in harmony with what you desire. When you start noticing synchronicities, when calm replaces desperation, when clarity arises without effort, and when losses are understood as space-making, you are not merely waiting, you are already in the process of receiving. The signs are not promises of a distant future. They are confirmations that the future is already unfolding in the present. Think of it as tuning an instrument. At first, the strings sound dissonant, and it feels like no matter how much you turn the pegs, harmony is out of reach. But with persistence, the tones begin to align, and one day you realize the music is already flowing, without struggle. The signals of manifestation are like those first aligned notes, quiet yet undeniable, evidence that the entire song is about to emerge. They are not the end of the journey, but the beginning of resonance. As you move through this chapter, allow yourself to reflect on the signals already present in your life. Notice the coincidences, the calmness, the shifts in language, the pruning of habits, and the clarity that arises unexpectedly. Each of these is a whisper from the universe, a reminder that manifestation is not something you chase, but something you notice and allow. The more you pay attention, the more the path reveals itself, until one day, what once seemed impossible stands before you as the natural expression of who you have become. This is the essence of manifestation, not waiting for magic, but awakening to the truth that the signs of your transformation have been guiding you all along. There are times in the unfolding of a dream when the shift does not begin with fireworks or grand announcements, but with the gentle dissolving of old restlessness. You may notice that the urgency that once pushed you forward begins to lose its grip. Instead of waking each morning with the heaviness of desperation, you start to feel a calm curiosity about how the day will unfold. This transformation of your inner atmosphere is one of the clearest signals that manifestation is drawing near. It is not about indifference or giving up, but about entering a new state of trust, where the body and the mind no longer live in constant resistance. What once felt like endless waiting begins to feel like a sacred pause, a rhythm you can finally rest within. This shift often arises after a long season of striving, when you have exhausted yourself with effort and control. The exhaustion itself is a teacher, guiding you toward surrender. True manifestation rarely responds to force, it flows through alignment, and alignment reveals itself most powerfully when you realize you do not need to constantly check, prove, or demand results. A deeper wisdom begins to whisper, "I am already on the way." That whisper brings a kind of quiet liberation, where the nervous system starts to relax, and life feels less like a battlefield and more like a river carrying you. The calm that follows surrender is not passive, it is fertile, creative, and deeply alive. One of the signals you may experience in this stage is the appearance of unexpected ease in daily life. Tasks that once drained you become lighter, and the emotional weight attached to them fades. You may discover that you no longer procrastinate as heavily because there is less inner resistance clogging your energy. This new rhythm of ease is a sign that the energy of your future is integrating with your present self. Rather than striving to force a new identity, you begin to embody it in small but profound ways. Every time you act from this lighter state, you send a signal back into the world that you are already living in the reality you once only imagined. Synchronicities also become more noticeable at this stage. Instead of chasing them, you begin to encounter them naturally. They feel like subtle nods from the universe, gentle confirmations that your vibration and your environment are finally in harmony. Perhaps you meet someone unexpectedly who shares a story that resonates with your own path, or you stumble across a resource that answers the exact question you carried in your heart. These moments remind you that you are not navigating this process alone. The universe is participating in your journey, arranging small alignments that reassure you even when the larger result has not yet appeared. At the same time, you may feel certain attachments loosening. Relationships, habits, or beliefs that once felt essential suddenly seem out of place. This release can be painful, especially if it involves letting go of identities you have carried for years. But if you look closely, you will see that what is leaving is precisely what cannot accompany you into the life you are manifesting. The calm you feel is not just the absence of stress, it is the spaciousness created by releasing what no longer resonates. This empty space is not a loss, it is the room required for your manifestation to take root and expand. The transformation of language is another quiet yet powerful sign. You may notice that you no longer describe yourself as someone waiting, but as someone preparing. Instead of saying, "I hope this happens," you begin to say, "I am ready for when it happens." The subtle change in words reflects a deeper shift in identity, and identity is the soil from which manifestation grows. When you speak differently, not to convince yourself, but because the new words feel natural, you know that your inner and outer worlds are aligning. One of the most profound signals comes in the form of intuitive clarity. Insights that once seemed distant arrive with surprising simplicity. You may suddenly know the next step to take without overthinking it, or feel a strong inner nudge to move in a direction that initially makes little sense, but later proves transformative. These insights are not the product of over-analysis. They rise from a deeper layer of consciousness that is finally free to speak because the noise of doubt has quieted. Acting on these nudges builds trust, and trust creates a feedback loop that accelerates the unfolding of your manifestation. Time itself begins to feel different as well. You no longer measure progress by the ticking of the clock, but by the quality of your presence. Instead of waiting anxiously for the future to arrive, you discover that the present moment feels richer and more meaningful. This is not because you have abandoned your dreams, but because you have allowed them to integrate into your now. In this way, manifestation ceases to be a distant event and becomes an ongoing experience of alignment. Every present moment, lived in coherence with your intention, is a manifestation in itself, preparing you for the larger outcome. Think of this stage like a seed that has already broken through the soil. At first, there is no flower, no fruit, only a tender sprout that seems fragile. Yet within that small sprout lies the entire future of the tree. The calm you feel, the synchronicities you notice, the language you shift, the clarity you receive. These are the sprouts of your manifestation. They may appear modest, but they are undeniable proof that life is already growing toward the reality you envisioned. The challenge is not to demand the full-grown tree today, but to honor the signals that it has already begun. This journey requires patience, but not the kind of patience born from resignation. It is the patience of presence, where you realize that the signs themselves are a form of arrival. Every whisper, every synchronicity, every release, and every moment of clarity is evidence that you are already walking in the reality you longed for. You are no longer the person who doubts endlessly, who waits in desperation, who clings to the old for fear of the unknown. You are becoming the one who trusts, who notices, who acts with quiet confidence. That becoming is itself the essence of manifestation. So when calm replaces desperation, when coincidences carry meaning, when losses create space, and when words reshape themselves naturally, recognize these not as small details, but as profound confirmations. They are the universe's way of showing you that your manifestation is no longer distant. It is already unfolding, one subtle sign at a time. The more you allow yourself to rest in this awareness, the more you will find that life is already delivering what you once thought was far away. The journey is no longer about waiting. It is about recognizing that the signals of arrival are already all around you, guiding you into the fullness of what is to come. There comes a moment in the unfolding of any dream when life begins to quietly dismantle the version of you that no longer fits. What once felt stable suddenly starts to shake, and what once gave you comfort begins to lose its meaning. This can be confusing, because on the surface it feels like you are losing more than you are gaining. Yet if you look deeper, you will see that this dismantling is itself a sacred signal. It is the universe preparing you for the reality you have asked for, pruning away everything that cannot grow alongside your next chapter. The very discomfort you feel is proof that transformation is near. Many people misinterpret this stage. They believe that when doors close it means failure, or that when people drift away it means abandonment. But manifestation often begins with subtraction, not addition. The universe clears space before it delivers. Just as a sculptor must chip away the unnecessary stone to reveal the form inside, life removes what is outdated in order to reveal the new reality you are ready to inhabit. This process is not punishment, it is refinement, and the signals of manifestation often appear first as endings that free you from what has become too small for your soul. This stage also reveals itself in the changing desires of your heart. Activities, relationships, or ambitions that once consumed you may suddenly feel heavy or irrelevant. At first, you may feel guilty for no longer resonating with them, but this loss of attraction is a clear sign that your inner frequency is shifting. What you once needed to learn has already served its purpose, and your energy is being redirected toward what is aligned with your unfolding future. The quiet disinterest in what once held your attention is not apathy, it is evolution. When your soul begins to withdraw from what is misaligned, it is because something greater is calling you forward. Another signal is the emergence of resilience in unexpected places. You may face challenges that once would have broken you, yet now you find yourself responding with calm strength. The storms still come, but you no longer collapse under them. Instead, you feel a surprising steadiness, as though an invisible foundation has been laid beneath your feet. This resilience is a sign that you are no longer the same person who once doubted or feared constantly. It means that your manifestation is drawing near because your inner self has become strong enough to hold it without collapsing. The universe does not deliver fragile dreams to fragile vessels. It delivers to those who have cultivated the capacity to carry them. You may also notice a deepening sense of clarity in your perception of truth. Lies you once told yourself, or compromises you once accepted, no longer feel tolerable. The veil begins to thin, and you see reality with sharper eyes. This clarity can be unsettling because it demands honesty and change, but it is also liberating. When illusions crumble, they make way for authenticity, and authenticity is the soil where manifestation grows. The willingness to face truth, even when it is uncomfortable, is itself a signal that you are ready for the reality you have longed for. The pruning stage of manifestation is often accompanied by physical or emotional sensations that mark transition. Some people experience sudden bursts of energy, followed by deep rest, as if their bodies are recalibrating. Others notice dreams filled with symbolic images, doors closing, paths opening, or familiar places transforming into something new. These experiences are not random. They are the subconscious communicating what the conscious mind has not yet articulated. Paying attention to these signals helps you understand that your body and soul are already preparing for the new reality that is approaching. There is also a shift in how you relate to the unknown. In earlier stages, uncertainty feels threatening, something to be avoided at all costs. But as manifestation nears, the unknown begins to feel less like a void and more like a canvas. You find yourself willing to take steps without knowing the full outcome, trusting that each step will reveal the next. This courage to move without guarantees is one of the clearest signals of alignment. It means you are no longer trying to control the entire path, but are instead allowing yourself to flow with the unfolding. This trust is magnetic. It draws opportunities toward you because you are no longer resisting the process with fear. Perhaps one of the most overlooked signals of manifestation is the restoration of small joys. You might rediscover pleasure in simple acts like breathing deeply, watching the sky change colors, or listening to the rhythm of rain. These moments of presence are not distractions from your dream. They are confirmations that you are already living in resonance with it. The ability to find joy in the present moment indicates that you have shifted from a state of lack to a state of abundance. Manifestation does not wait for you to achieve your desire to bring joy. It teaches you to experience joy as the very energy that calls your desire into being. Imagine a tree in autumn. The leaves fall, and to the untrained eye, it may seem as if the tree is dying, yet in truth it is preparing for renewal. The shedding is not an ending, but a cycle of rebirth. In the same way, when you notice things falling away in your life, it is not because you are losing, but because your soul is preparing for new growth. The bare branches are the clearest signal that spring is near. This perspective transforms loss into hope and prepares your heart to embrace the abundance that is already on its way. As you walk through this chapter of your journey, understand that the signals of manifestation are not always wrapped in beauty. Sometimes they come disguised as endings, shifts, and unexpected changes. But if you look closely, you will see that each change is a realignment, each ending a new beginning, each release a preparation. The discomfort you feel is temporary. The transformation it brings is lasting. When you begin to notice these patterns and embrace them, you step into a state of trust that allows your manifestation to unfold naturally. The journey is not about forcing, chasing, or demanding. It is about recognizing the subtle guidance that life is already offering. And when you honor these signals, whether they appear as endings, clarity, resilience, or small moments of joy, you will see that your manifestation is not somewhere far away. It is already weaving itself into the fabric of your life, waiting for you to notice and welcome it. There is a stage in the process of manifestation that feels less like waiting and more like crossing a threshold. You begin to sense that life is arranging itself in patterns that previously seemed invisible. What once felt random starts to carry meaning, and what once appeared ordinary begins to glow with significance. This heightened awareness is one of the clearest indications that the reality you desire is not only approaching, but is already unfolding around you. The signals may appear subtle, but they form a language between you and the universe, a language that invites you to pay closer attention to the way everything connects. One of the strongest signals in this stage is the arrival of opportunities that seem small, but carry the essence of what you desire. Instead of being presented with the final vision of your manifestation all at once, you are offered fragments, stepping stones, that mirror the larger picture. These opportunities often appear modest: a conversation with a stranger who knows someone important, a job offer that is not the ultimate dream, but aligns more than the last one, or a creative project that unexpectedly opens new doors. At first, you may dismiss them as insufficient, yet these small doors are the universe's way of testing whether you are ready to receive and nurture the greater reality that is forming. This process requires discernment. Not every event is a signal, but when you notice a series of moments converging toward the same direction, you are witnessing alignment. The pattern might emerge in repeated themes, similar words spoken by different people, ideas that show up in books and conversations within the same week, or recurring invitations that point to a shared opportunity. These repetitions are not accidents, they are confirmations. They serve as signposts, marking that you are on the right path even when the final outcome has not yet taken shape. Another signal is the softening of resistance. When manifestation is near, you no longer feel the constant need to control outcomes. This does not mean you stop caring or taking action. It means that the inner struggle, the tension between believing and doubting begins to dissolve. You find yourself moving with greater ease, trusting that what is meant to unfold will arrive in its own time. This quiet trust does not come from ignoring reality, but from sensing a deeper current beneath it. You may notice that your actions feel more inspired, less forced, as if you are guided rather than pressured. That flow is a profound indicator of alignment. Clarity often comes in surprising ways during this stage. Insights may appear suddenly without effort, bringing solutions to problems that once felt impossible. It could be a sudden idea during a walk, a phrase overheard that feels like a direct answer, or a realization that changes your entire perspective. These moments of clarity are more than intuition. They are signals that your subconscious has aligned with your conscious desires, allowing new information to surface effortlessly. The appearance of such clarity shows that you are becoming a vibrational match for the reality you are calling in. As manifestation draws nearer, you may also feel a subtle shift in your relationships. People who cannot align with your growth may naturally fade away, while new connections arise that support your expansion. This transition is rarely dramatic. Instead, it feels like drifting apart from some and being drawn toward others. Though it can be bittersweet, it is another sign of alignment as your social environment rearranges itself to reflect the frequency of the reality you are manifesting. The presence of supportive, uplifting people entering your life is not coincidence. It is evidence that you are stepping into a new resonance. One of the most beautiful signals of manifestation is the restoration of inner peace. You begin to notice longer stretches of calm between your anxious thoughts. You no longer spend every waking hour obsessing over when your dream will arrive. Instead, you feel a growing confidence that it already belongs to you. This peace does not mean the absence of challenges, but rather a steadiness in facing them. You discover that you are no longer easily shaken by external circumstances, because something inside of you has shifted into trust. That unshakable calm is itself a signal that your manifestation is near, because it reflects the internal alignment that attracts it. Even the body responds in this stage. You may find yourself sleeping more deeply, breathing more easily, or feeling a new sense of vitality. The nervous system, once wired to survive through stress, begins to relax into trust. Your physical state mirrors your emotional state, and this harmony creates an environment where your manifestation can root itself. The signals are not only external, they live within your own body, whispering that you are ready to receive. Imagine a river approaching the sea. In its final stretch, the river divides into smaller channels, winding gently toward its destination. From above, it may look as if the water is scattering, losing strength, yet in truth it is moving with greater purpose, distributing its flow across the landscape so that it arrives fully. This image captures the final signals of manifestation, many small currents, each pointing to the same ocean of possibility. If you pay attention, you will recognize that these channels are guiding you closer than ever before. The signals of manifestation are not there to satisfy curiosity or provide entertainment. They are invitations to trust, to lean deeper into presence, and to move with the flow of your becoming. When small opportunities arise, when clarity surfaces, when relationships shift, when peace settles into your body, these are not random occurrences. They are confirmations. They are the universe's way of showing you that your manifestation is not a distant dream but a reality already in motion. The key is not to ignore these signs, nor to demand more dramatic proof, but to recognize that the subtlety of these signals is what makes them powerful. They belong to the quiet language of alignment, a language that becomes clearer the more you choose to listen. Manifestation is not about waiting for a miracle to arrive fully formed, nor is it about forcing reality to bend to your will through sheer effort. It is the art of recognizing the quiet signs that your life is already shifting. These signs often arrive as subtle whispers, a sense of inner calm replacing anxiety, synchronicities that appear at just the right moment, opportunities that seem small but carry great potential, and the release of habits or connections that no longer serve your path. Each of these signals is not random. They are the gentle language of the universe telling you that your desire is on its way. When you begin to trust these signals, you move from desperation into alignment. You stop asking, "When will it happen?" and start realizing it is already happening. That shift in perspective transforms the way you act. the way you see yourself, and the way you experience time. You are no longer chasing something distant. You are embodying it in the present moment. This embodiment is the true essence of manifestation, becoming the version of yourself that can naturally hold the life you once only dreamed of. Every ending, every unexpected connection, every intuitive nudge, and every moment of peace is a piece of evidence that your manifestation is preparing to bloom. Just like the tree that appears bare in winter, yet carries the certainty of spring within its roots, your life is holding the future you asked for, even if it is not yet visible. Trusting this process allows you to live with more joy, more patience, and more confidence, because you know that the unseen is already unfolding. Manifestation is not about reaching a final destination, but about walking with awareness, guided by the signs that appear along the way, until your dream becomes your reality. Now I leave you with one powerful question. If the universe is already sending you signals that your manifestation is near, will you allow yourself to see them clearly, or will you continue to doubt their meaning? If this message spoke to your heart, I invite you to subscribe to this channel, because here you will always find guidance for your spiritual journey and practical wisdom for your transformation. And don't stop here. Continue watching the video that is appearing on your screen right now, because the next step in your journey is waiting for you there.